Hi guys, good afternoon and welcome to Money Control. I'm Karunya. With me is Manisha Gupta, and in our commodities chat today we'll put the spotlight on wheat prices. The spot prices are almost at an all-time high. So tell us what is driving the prices to soar.
So, I don't know last time when we bought wheat because you usually end up buying only the flour directly,
Yeah.
right? So, wheat prices right now for retail is 25 rupees a kg. That's what it's selling in Indian mandis there, Delhi mandis rather. And this is an all time high. And it has been 2-3 times earlier as well that we have seen 2500 per quintal of a level. And then the market gets selling at those levels. So, this looks like a price where market is good to sell. They make profits. Let me tell you that the MSP for wheat is 2015. So, if you have prices running at 2500, so you are way above the MSP in case of the prices, and is the reason that you have seen government not able to buy wheat because they buy at procurement level at MSP levels, but because the prices in any case have been on the higher side, it really has gone into private holders, private stockists, companies, end users, etc. So they have ended up buying more wheat, and the government's holding of wheat is much lesser. Let me tell you one more thing: that the buffer norm for Indian government is 275 lakh tons. What the government is holding right now is 285 lakh tons, which is not so much. So even if they want to sell into the open market, there's not so much excess wheat that they hold right now.
So tell me one thing. We did see a ban on exporting wheat a couple of months back. So even that hasn't been able to curb inflation.
That did help. We did see prices immediately as a knee-jerk reaction fall by 200 rupees, and that is when the market said that yes, there is a reaction to this. But then we already had exported 6 million tons. Last year was 7.2 million tons, so we weren't too far away from that. So the government step is well appreciated because otherwise the Indian prices would have been higher much worse. So what we're looking at right now is that the government will have to take a measure. They have been taking measures for every commodity, especially for ahead of the festival demand that we are looking at. Wheat prices have started to run up yet again. There is a bit of a concern that the government can do something. So you're looking at a cap of 25, but can the prices go much lower? No, because ultimately the government does not have enough wheat. And when you look at the international markets, by the way, so if we are trading at 25 rupees a kg, the international markets are trading at 33 to 34 rupees a kg. Okay. So even if you import at these current levels, it's not viable.
But tell me one thing. Who has the inventory or the stock now? If the government is actually nearing, the bare minimum limit, then who's holding all this wheat?
So the private buying has been really huge this time around. Exporters were buying, private holders were buying, and they're clearly not at a loss, right? Because the wheat prices have been holding firm. So the thing that the government can do right now, and they have quite a bit of options even open right now, is that they could be asking for a national inventory. So that would mean everybody on how much wheat do they hold will have to report it to the government. The next step could be a stock limit itself, so you can't hold more than this much wheat. So I think it's a step by step that the government is doing. It could start with the rhetoric and it could go on to actual measures on ground.
So even these FMCG companies, ITC, Britannia, whoever uses wheat, essentially. So are they also holding all this some of this wheat?
They can. They have warehouses. They do hold a few days of inventory with them. And the actual users also actually has asked the government to sell them wheat via OMSS, via tenders. So the point is that the Food Corporation of India, which usually sells wheat in open market, is not going to do it this time because the central pool does not have enough wheat. So this is what the actual users are asking for as a government measure to do that, sell it via OMSS. Open market sales scheme is how it should be adhered to.
So then this is not a very bad news then for FMCG players because they do seem to have some amount of sufficient stock in their inventory. So they don't need to really struggle to procure wheat at attractive prices.
But you know what? The wheat is really spread out. A lot of private holders are holding it. So that is the reason perhaps the government will issue out a note saying that a national inventory on who holds how much wheat. I think that would tell us on who holds more, who holds less, who's looking for wheat in the open markets. Because every time you will see a demand coming up, the wheat prices will go higher. And usually you perhaps don't eat as much. But with the festivities hitting in this month and the next 3 or 4 months, the demand is going to be very strong. So that is the time you will require more wheat. And ahead of that, so I was talking to some industry representatives and they said week, 10 days max, and you will see a government measure coming.
Oh, so they will not have to hike prices, hopefully, and government will intervene and make things right.
Yes, they would want to see how much wheat is being held. Is it in right hands? Is it enough with the FMCG companies? I think the government will ensure that the wheat prices do not rush too much higher from here. Wheat products is one part of it because wheat itself, I mean, the roti chapati that you eat is like basic. So even before getting into the FMCG companies, the whole flour business is something that the government will keep an eye on.
Okay, and it's something that perhaps you all should also keep an eye on if you're invested in the commodity or even in FMCG names which have a fair amount of exposure to this market. All right, that's all we have in today's conversation. Thank you for watching. We'll be back again at 1 o'clock, not tomorrow, but day after.